The salah of those with excuses recognized by the Sharia. Salah of those who are sick. Due to Allah's mercy with the Muslims, He made worship to be within the people's ability. So He did not stipulate that the one who is sick should pray the same way as the one who is healthy. As if the sick person is able to observe the prayer standing, then he must pray standing. But if he cannot pray standing, he can pray sitting. And if he cannot pray sitting, he should pray lying on his side with his face directed towards the Qibla. However, if he cannot pray on his side, then he should pray on his back with his feet directed towards the Qibla. Otherwise, if this is not possible, he can pray in any way his condition permits. Allah said, "So keep your duty to Allah and fear Him as much as you can." Also the Prophet, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said to Imran ibn Hussein, may Allah be pleased with him, "Pray while standing. And if you cannot, then while sitting. And if you cannot, then pray while lying down." Although Islamic legislation stipulates easiness, the scholars have said that if a sick person observes salah in a sitting position and he is capable of prostrating, then prostration is compulsory for him. And if he observes salah while sitting but is incapable of performing the prostration, then he gestures with his body with regards to bowing and prostration, making his prostration lower than his bowing. If motioning with his body becomes difficult, then he gestures with his head. Also, this is the manner in which he performs salah while praying on his back, that is, gestures with his head. Islamic legislation also stipulates that if performing ablution for each salah becomes difficult for a sick person, or observing the salah at their prescribed period is unbearable, then he can observe Dhuhr and Asr together, as well as Maghrib and Isha, by combining both salah in the time of the former or the latter, according to what is convenient for him. And although there is so much easiness in the rules of the religion, the sick person is not excused in any situation from salah as long as his senses remain intact. Thus, it is not proper for the sick person to take salah lightly on account of his sickness, but he should try as much as possible to keep observing his salah. If the sick person was unconscious for some days and later becomes conscious, he is to observe salah when he regains his consciousness according to his ability. He is not to re-offer the salah missed during his unconsciousness. However, if his unconsciousness is mild, a day or two for instance, he is to re-offer the missed prayers whenever that becomes possible for him. The traveler's prayer. Due to the great difficulties that a traveler undergoes during his journey, it is authorized for him to shorten the 4 rak'ah salah, that is Dhuhr, Asr and Isha, to 2 rak'at. Also, permissible for him is the joining of Dhuhr together with Asr and Maghrib together with Isha. This is because Allah the Most High says, "And when you," meaning the Muslims, "travel in the land, there is no sin on you if you shorten your salah, if you fear that the disbelievers may attack you. For verily, the disbelievers are forever unto you open enemies." Anas ibn Malik, may Allah be pleased with him, said, "We went with the Messenger of Allah, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, from Medina to Mecca, and he used to lead us in salah, praying 2 rak'ahs until we returned. No particular length has been stipulated in order for the person to be considered to be on a journey, as any trip customarily regarded as a journey is a form of traveling where salah can be shortened. Shortening of salah by a traveler begins after he has left the residential area of his town or city. But it is not permissible for him to shorten his salah while still in his town or city. This is because it has not been reported from the Prophet, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, that he shortened his salah except after his departure from his hometown. When a traveler arrives at a place and he intends to stay there for 4 days or more, then it is compulsory for him to pray the Salah in full, without shortening it. However, if he intends to stay for less than 4 days, it is permitted for him to shorten his Salah. Moreover, if he does not intend to stay for a specified length of time, but he intends to return as soon as he completes a particular transaction, then in this case, the shortening of Salah is permissible until he returns, meaning to his place of abode, even if eventually he stays for longer than 4 days. If a traveler prays behind a resident imam, it is compulsory for him to pray the usual prayer in full, without shortening it, even if he only catches 1 raka'ah of the Salah led by the imam with the imam. But if a resident person prays behind a traveling imam that shortens his Salah, it is compulsory on him to complete his Salah, that is without shortening it, after the imam's taslim. Joining and shortening do not have to be observed together, as there may be joining and shortening combined together, as well as only joining without shortening. During the journey, people usually use different forms of transport. In the past, people used camels and horses. Then cars and trains took their place. And afterwards, the forms of transport developed so that airplanes and similar types of transport became available. But no matter what type of transport is used, the traveler can pray any voluntary Salah without any fear of sin. This is due to an authentic narration that reports that the Messenger of Allah, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, used to observe the voluntary Salah on his rides, meaning his camels, in whichever direction it faced. For an obligatory prayer, the Salah is valid if the person is not able to dismount and pray on the ground for any reason. In this case, he observes the Salah in its usual form, so he faces the direction of the Qibla, bows and prostrates in the usual way, if he is able to. But if he is not able to face the direction of the Qibla, or bow, or prostrate, then it is compulsory on him to face the Qibla during the initiating takbir. Thereafter he prays to any direction the bus faces, gesturing for both bowing and prostration. Another exemption is the permissibility to join prayers for the one who is praying in congregation in the mosque when it is raining, due to the discomfort and difficulty involved. But whoever is praying in their homes, like the females, then it is not permissible to join any prayers due to the rain.